Good evening, everyone. Welcome to 31 Nights of Horror. This is Controller Cramps, and tonight I'll be going over my number 8 favorite horror movie of all time, Return of the Living Dead. The Return of the Living Dead is a 1985 horror/dark comedy written and directed by Dan O'Bannon, famous for being the screenplay writer of the 1979 film Alien. The film starts and we are introduced to Frank, who is a foreman of this medical warehouse, and he's sort of giving a tour, showing the ropes to a new hire, Freddy. And he tells Freddy that he's kind of showing off. He tells Freddy that he had an experience earlier in his career, and it was a very strange experience in that the film Night of the Living Dead is actually based on a true story. And that the military actually has these containers that they're storing in the basement, and it contains the zombies from the film. So the new hire Freddy is very impressed by this big drum with this zombie in it, and he turns to Frank and he asks, "Hey, these things don't leak, do they?" And Frank says, "Oh, hell no, these are made by the Army Corps of Engineers," and he gives the tub a whack. And then all of a sudden, instantly, this mist of a chemical called trioxin just leaks out all over the place, suffocating them, making them gag, and they pass out on the basement floor. So they eventually come to, and they go upstairs, and they're still gagging and everything, but they hear this noise coming from behind one of the rows of medical supplies. And they go to investigate it, and there's this dog laying on the ground, sort of huffing and puffing and panting. And they go to pick it up, and they realize that the dog had been cut in half. It was like a medical display to show like the biology of this animal. And it was alive, and it's all slimy and everything. And so, I mean, we're showing that basically the gas that leaked everywhere brought back some of the samples that they have in the medical warehouse, brought them back from the dead. After this, they hear a noise coming from the room where they keep the cadavers. So now they're in full-on panic mode. So they have human cadavers in this room, and they're hearing banging on the door. And it's just full-on panic mode at this time. They manage to lock the door. They go to their office. They call their boss. Their boss shows up. They come up with a plan where they're going to open the door, let the cadaver out. That they're going to kill it. They're going to just kill it with a fire axe. So that doesn't go quite as according to plan as they had hoped. The cadaver attacks the boss. They end up getting it pinned on the floor, and they hit it directly, headshot with the fire axe. The fire axe goes through the head. Cadaver is still screaming, still alive. So then they hold it down and they cut the head off, and that doesn't even kill it. So they come up with this plan where they're going to take the body to a crematorium and get the guy there to burn it. They tell him it's like a dead dog. Well, that doesn't quite work as planned either. They burn the body, and bad thing for them, the smoke carries this toxin, and it creates it gets mixed in with like the rain clouds, and there's a cemetery nearby. So when it rains, it sinks into the ground, and all the corpses in the cemetery rise up from the grave. That's the first 15 or 20 minutes of the movie. At this point, all hell breaks loose. These people are trying to figure out a way out of the situation. Ambulance drivers show up, police show up, the military ends up showing up eventually. It's a fantastic movie. It's very funny. It's very lighthearted, but at the same time, it is a horror movie, and there's really good effects. And it's a whole lot of fun. I love this movie very much. I watch it at least once a year. I've been doing that for years. Not a big fan of the sequels. The second one is Third one's kind of They're all right. They actually, in the second one, I don't know why I'm even talking about the second one, but the second one, they brought back one of the characters that it doesn't make any sense. Just go ahead and watch this movie. Go watch it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. You will enjoy it. I think you'll really enjoy it. And that's the end of my very brief recap of my number 8 favorite horror movie of all time. It's a movie that I'll never get bored of. It's just a lot of fun. Yeah, so that's about it. Thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. Join me tomorrow night for my number 7 favorite horror movie of all time. And until then, keep it sleazy.